It all started like a story nobody ever thought would take such a dark turn. Papoose and Remy Ma were the couple everybody in the hip-hop community looked up to. From the streets of New York to the biggest stages, they were the definition of loyalty. Papoose was the man who stood by his woman through thick and thin, even when she served her prison sentence. He waited. He defended her. He never gave up. Their love story was supposed to be unbreakable, a ride-or-die bond that inspired millions. But sometimes, the people we trust the most are the ones who shatter us in ways we never saw coming. Papoose and Remy Ma's relationship wasn't just a love story. It was a badge of honor in a world where loyalty is rare. Papoose wasn't just a husband. He was her biggest fan, her protector, the one who had her back when the world turned against her. People called him a king for standing by Remy during her darkest hours. Even when she was behind bars, Papoose visited her every single chance he got. He put his career on hold, refused to move on with his life, and stayed loyal to her, proving that true love still existed. They became a symbol of hope for people who believed love could survive anything. And Remy? She seemed just as committed. Once she got out, it looked like she was ready to make up for the lost time. They got married in a lavish ceremony, had a beautiful daughter, and kept showing the world how strong they were together. It seemed like nothing could break them apart. But behind the perfect social media posts and couple goals hashtags, something darker was brewing, something nobody saw coming until it exploded in the most unexpected way. Remy Ma's relationship with Fat Joe goes way back. They weren't just industry friends, they were family. From their early days in the Terror Squad to topping the charts with Lean Back, they had built a partnership that seemed rock solid. Fat Joe was the big brother figure, the business partner, the man who believed in Remy when the world counted her out. Their chemistry on stage and in interviews was undeniable, but it always came off as harmless. Just two friends who came up together and never switched up. That's what everybody thought, until whispers started making their way through the streets of New York. At first, it was just innocent talk. Some fans noticed how close they looked during certain performances. A few blogs hinted at secret meetings and private parties. But nothing serious ever stuck. Remy and Joe always shut the rumors down, laughing it off like a ridiculous joke. And Papoose. He trusted Remy and Joe both. Why wouldn't he? They were like family. He had no reason to doubt them. But sometimes, loyalty blinds you to the truth that's staring you right in the face. Enter Claressa Shields, the undefeated boxing champion who's known for throwing punches inside and outside the ring. Claressa wasn't just a fan of Remy Ma. They were friends, or at least that's what Remy thought. The two shared a bond, and Claressa often spoke highly of Remy's strength and hustle. But it turns out, even friends have their limits, especially when they know something that could change everything. One evening, during what seemed like a harmless interview, Claressa dropped a bombshell that nobody saw coming. With cameras rolling and the internet watching, she let the words slip that shook the entire hip-hop community. Claressa hinted, no, she flat out said, that Remy Ma and Fat Joe weren't just friends. According to Claressa, there was something going on behind the scenes. Something dirty. Something that would make even the strongest man lose it. The internet exploded. Social media timelines were flooded with clips of Claressa's interview. Fans went into a frenzy trying to piece together hints, analyzing old videos of Remy and Fat Joe performing, finding moments that suddenly looked way too cozy. And then came the real shocker, alleged receipts. DMs, photos, and voice notes started circulating online. Were they real? Nobody knew for sure. But in the court of public opinion, it didn't even matter. The damage was done. Papoose, the man who had always kept his cool, couldn't stay silent this time. According to sources close to the situation, Papoose found out just like everyone else, through the internet. Imagine giving your heart to someone, standing by them when the world turned their back, only to find out your loyalty was being played like a fool, and you discover it with the rest of the world. The betrayal wasn't just personal, it was public. And that's a wound not even time can heal. The stories started pouring in. Friends of Papoose claimed he was blindsided, hurt, and furious. Some said he confronted Remy in private. Others whispered about a heated phone call with Fat Joe that ended with both men exchanging harsh words. Nobody knows exactly what happened behind closed doors, but one thing became clear: Papoose wasn't okay. Cryptic posts started showing up on his social media. Quotes about betrayal, loyalty, and heartbreak. Lines that didn't mention names but said everything people needed to hear. Fans knew those posts weren't random. They were a direct hit at Remy. The man who once called her his queen was now airing out his pain for the world to see. And the world couldn't look away. The hip-hop community reacted with shock and sympathy. People who once cheered for Remy and Papoose now sided with Papoose. The same fans who called them couple goals were now dragging Remy through the mud. Loyalty is a tricky thing. Once you break it, people don't forget. As for Fat Joe, his silence spoke louder than words. While fans demanded answers, Joe kept his distance from the drama. No statements. No denials. Just silence. And sometimes, silence says more than 1,000 words. People started questioning his character, wondering if he really was the friend and mentor everyone believed him to be. The betrayal wasn't just against Papoose. It was a slap in the face to every fan who believed in Joe and Remy's brother-sister bond. Behind the scenes, the rumors kept getting wilder. Some claimed Remy had been seeing Joe for months. Others swore it was just a one-time mistake that spiraled out of control. Nobody could agree on the details, but the one thing everyone agreed on was that something went down, something that broke the unbreakable. This scandal didn't just hurt personal relationships, it shook the entire legacy of everyone involved. Remy Ma, the woman known for her strength and loyalty, suddenly became the face of betrayal. Her reputation took a massive hit. Brands backed off. Fans unfollowed. The same people who once praised her were now tearing her apart online. The fall from grace was brutal. Fat Joe, a legend in his own right, wasn't spared either. His credibility took a hit. The man who always preached loyalty and brotherhood now had his name dragged through a scandal that questioned everything he stood for. Collaborations, endorsements, even friendships started fading. In the world of hip-hop, loyalty is currency. And once you lose that, you lose everything. And what about Papoose? The man who had everything taken from him in the most humiliating way possible. People rallied around him, calling him a real man, a king who deserved better. His fanbase grew stronger, but his heart? That was another story. They say heartbreak changes a person, and those close to Papoose said he wasn't the same after the scandal. The man who once wore his heart on his sleeve now wore his pain like armor. The question on everyone's mind was simple: what happens now? Were Papoose and Remy headed for divorce? Would Fat Joe and Remy's professional relationship survive? Would Claressa Shields face backlash for blowing the whistle, or was she hailed as a hero for speaking the truth? Remy Ma stayed silent for weeks. No interviews, no social media posts, nothing at all. Just complete silence. Fans and the public were left wondering what was really going on, but she didn't give them any answers. When she finally decided to break that silence, it wasn't with a clear denial or a heartfelt confession. Instead, she shared a carefully written message that talked about personal growth, making mistakes, and learning from the past. It was a message that sounded like a soft admission without actually admitting anything. She never said, "I did this," or "I didn't do that," but the tone felt like she was quietly acknowledging the situation. That kind of vague response only made the rumors grow stronger and the speculation more intense. People started reading between the lines, analyzing every word to find clues, but instead of calming things down, it just fueled the fire even more. On the other hand, Papoose made it very clear that he was moving on with or without Remy. He began putting all his energy back into his music career, dropping tracks that were full of pain, betrayal, and the struggle to start over. Each song felt like a page taken directly from his personal diary. Fans connected deeply with his raw honesty, appreciating how open and vulnerable he was in his lyrics. This vulnerability made him even more beloved by his supporters. He wasn't just the loyal husband waiting in the background anymore. He became a symbol of strength and resilience, showing the world that even after heartbreak, you can rebuild and come back stronger. Fat Joe eventually decided to address the rumors, but only half-heartedly. In a live session with fans, he dismissed the accusations as nonsense, blaming haters for trying to tear people down. But his words didn't have the impact they once did. The damage was already done. People weren't buying his explanation anymore. His attempt to brush it off felt rehearsed and lacking sincerity, and it only added to the growing distrust around him. Meanwhile, Claressa's shield stood firm in her position. When asked why she spoke out, she said, "Sometimes the truth hurts, but it needs to be said." She refused to backtrack or apologize for exposing what she believed was the truth. In a world full of fake friends and hidden agendas, many saw Claressa as the realest person in the room, someone brave enough to risk it all to reveal what was really going on behind the scenes. This wasn't just a cheating scandal. It was a lesson about how fragile loyalty can be and how quickly the people you trust the most can turn into your worst enemies. It reminded everyone that behind every perfect couple photo and every supportive friendship, there might be a hidden story you'll never see coming until it hits you like a punch to the gut. Now, even though the initial chaos has died down, the wounds are still fresh. Papoose is rebuilding his life and career. Remy is trying to salvage what's left of her public image. Fat Joe's reputation is forever tainted. And Claressa? She walked away with her head held high, unapologetic, a reminder that sometimes the truth isn't pretty, but it's real. And for the rest of us watching this all unfold, the question remains, how do you ever learn to trust again when the people you love the most are the ones who end up breaking you?